Hi guys, and thanks for tuning in, and thanks again for your views and your subscriptions. I'm very grateful to that. Today we're going to be looking at measurements and calculations. Now what I've got on the board is a conversion chart, if you like. It's in its most simplest form to help you convert from kilometres to metres to centimetres through to millimetres, and in reverse from millimetres to centimetres to metres and then to kilometres. So for example, to go from kilometres to metres, we're going in this direction and we're following the arrow. So we're multiplying by 1000. If we've got metres, for example 1 metre, then we multiply by 100 to give us centimetres, and the same in reverse. Whatever millimetres we've got, we divide by 10 to take us to centimetres, and then we divide by another 100 to take us to metres, and then another 1000 to take us through to kilometres. So let's go through and have a look at a couple of examples. On the board I've got 10,576 millimetres. So we're actually here 10,576 millimetres, and what I want to do is I want us to convert that into metres. So 10,576 millimetres converted into metres. This is an example of a typical question that you might get for a year 7, maybe a year 7, year 9 NAPLAN test, NAPLAN exam. And the way in which we would go about it is we're going to say 10,576 divided by, now we're at millimetres, so we're going to divide by 10, then we're going to divide by another 100 to take us to metres. So we're actually going to divide by 100 and the 10, which makes 1000. Okay. That's what we're going to do. So the 10,576 millimetres, if I take millimetres out just for one moment and I put in there 0.0 just as an example, I always like to put the decimal point in. It just helps students, and I'll explain why. That when we cross out this 0, we can move that decimal point to there. And I like to put a decimal point there, and I take this one out. Then we cross this 0 out, then we move the same decimal point back into there, and I place it there, and I take this one out. Then we cross this 0, and we move this decimal point back into there. So we're actually got the decimal point at its final point, which is actually equal to 10.576 meters. Very important, meters. And again, you know, you might find yourself in an exam situation where you don't have a calculator. That's okay. If you've got something like this, perhaps in like your summary notes, you can always refer to this in your summary notes, and that will certainly help you just simply by crossing the zeros and moving the decimal point. Another way to also think about it is that when we've got this number, we had 10,576, and we're dividing it by 1,000, for example, the number's going to get smaller. So the decimal point naturally will have to move in that direction. It's another way of thinking of it. When you're dividing by, say, 1,000, the decimal point's going to go to the left. Whereas if you were multiplying it by 1,000, the decimal point that was there would probably keep going to the right hand side. It's another way of thinking of it. But if you've got this conversion list, that'll help you. So if we have a look at another example, let's say we go to another example. Let's say we have a look at 11, 2, 8, 9, 4 millimeters. Okay. And we want to convert that to meters. same thing. Divided by, we're at millimeters, we're going to divide it by 10, and we're going to divide it by another 100 to take us to meters. So we've got 10 and 100. So put those together, put the zeros together, and we're actually dividing by 1000, okay? And again, let's say we take out this millimeters, just to make it simple. Let's put the 0 there. Again, the same thing. If we cross the 0 at, and we move that decimal point to there, put the decimal point in there, and we take it out there. We cross this 0 at, and then we move the decimal point over, put the decimal point there, and cross this one out. Then we cross this 0 at, and move the decimal point into there, and that's its final point there. So we actually have 112.894 meters. Okay, that's just a simple way of looking at it. Let's go through another example. We'll go through another example. Let's say we had for example, what's another example? Let's say we had 375 millimeters, and we want to convert that into meters. Okay, same thing. We're going to divide this by 1000. Again, the decimal point is there, and we're going to now cross this 0, move the decimal point to there. That's the decimal point. Let's take this one out. We're going to cross this 0. We're going to move the decimal point to there. And we're going to cross this 0 out. And we're going to cross this 0, and we're going to move the decimal point into there. Okay, so the answer is actually the answer is actually 0.375 meters. Okay, that's just another example. Let's have a look at another example. Let's say we've got, let's say for example, we have 10.579 meters, and we want to convert that into millimeters. Okay, 10.579 meters into millimeters. So there's meters, and we're wanting to go into millimeters. Virtually the reverse of what we did before. So we were at meters, we're going to multiply by 100, and we're going to multiply by another 10, which is actually multiplying by 1000. So in this instance, again, we're multiplying by 1000, so we're multiplying by a larger value. So naturally that decimal point is going to move to the right. That's just another way of thinking of it, so that the value must get larger, must be a larger value if you want to think of it like that. That's just another way of looking at it, if you like. So if we looked at 10.579 meters into millimeters, we're going to go from that decimal point, so we're going to multiply. So we say 10.579 multiplied by 1000. Okay. So we're actually going to cross out this 0, and we're going to move the decimal point to there. Okay, let's put it there. So now we're going to move this, we're going to cross this decimal point, sorry, we're going to cross this 0, and we're going to move the decimal point into there. Move that. Then we're going to cross this 0, and we're going to move this decimal point into there. Okay, so we've actually got 10,000, that's thousands, sorry, 10,579 millimeters. Okay, that's pretty much what we have there. So from meters, that's from meters to millimeters. So when I said before the numbers getting larger, I'm referring to the decimal points going to go all the way around to going to go to the right hand side. It's just another way of looking at it. So when you're multiplying by 1,000 in this instance, we've gone from the decimal point there and we've moved it to the right hand side. So the answer is 10,579 millimeters. Let's have a look at another example. Let's have a look. Now, let's have a look. I'll just go through another example with you. Let's say we had got 2.4 meters into millimeters. Okay, so 2.4 meters into millimeters. So again, there's meters. So we're going to multiply by 100, then multiply by another 10. So we know the zeros, the decimal point's going to go from that point, it's going to move to the right hand side because we're multiplying by 3 zeros. It's just another way of thinking about it, if that helps you in an exam. If you were ever confused in an exam whether you go to the left or whether the decimal point goes to the left or whether the decimal point goes to the right, you're going to be multiplying zeros. So those zeros represent decimal points. So you're going to be moving them to the right hand side. That's another way of looking at it. So if we say 2.4 times 1,000, okay, times 1,000. So let's just move that out of the way for the moment. Times 1,000. So 2.4 times 1,000. So that decimal point's going to go to the right hand side. So that'll be 1 point. That's crossed. Then we're going to cross this 0. It's going to be another point. Decimal point in there. Then, oh, we're getting a bit messy there. Actually, let me just move that. Let me just move that over. Times 1,000. Okay. Then we're going to move the decimal point to the right again, cross that 0 out. Okay, so that's it there. Okay, and there's the decimal point. I'll put him up there actually. Okay, so it's actually 2,400.0, if you want to say that, 0.0 millimeters. Okay, just to give you an example. So 2,400 millimeters. All right. Now we'll go through one more example. Let's see if I've got one more example for you. Let's see if we have a look at, well, even if we said, for example, say for example, we said let's say we had 23 centimeters, and we wanted to convert that into meters, okay? So 23 centimeters, there's 23 centimeters into meters, so we're going to divide it by 100, right? So we're going to divide that by 100. Right. So again, this 23 centimeters, I just want to move that over a little bit, is the same as saying 23.0 centimeters. I just want to pop that decimal point just to help you a little bit. So 23 divided by 100, and across that zero out, and I'm going to move that decimal point there. And I'm going to take that decimal point out. I'm then going to cross this zero out, and then I'm going to pop that decimal point there. So we actually have 0.2230, if you want to say 0 centimeters. Okay, that's just how we would work that one out. Again, this is measurements and calculations, and it's a great way of understanding the conversion, if you like, from kilometres, metres, centimetres and through to millimetres. But as I say, it would be something that would be typical for you to find, and perhaps on a year 7 NAPLAN exam, perhaps even a year 9 NAPLAN exam. But it's certainly great to have that little bit of knowledge of knowing which way to go from kilometres to millimetres, or from millimetres to kilometres. I hope that helps you. I hope that helps you guys, and see you on the next one, guys. Bye.